on the top of Mount Baden-Powell. Made it before the storm. Whew. So here is an example of a not so great day. It's been raining all day, and it's been very, very cold actually. So the girl I'm hiking with today, Songbird, and I hiked up to about 8,000 feet. It started snowing and then raining and then hailing. And yeah, my Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisper rain jacket, I guess I haven't really worn it in really rainy conditions. It's wet on the inside, and so I'm wet. At least my core is wet. And it's probably like close to freezing. So for our little lunch break we found a campground, and we had our lunch sitting by a porta potty because it was covered. And I switched into my puffy jacket to try to get warm. But now that we're walking again, I'm back in my cold, freezing wet clothes. So wonderful. All I'm dreaming about is getting in my tent right now. But it actually isn't raining, so some good. Let's see, I'll show you where I am. In the Angeles National Forest, there's road walking, because apparently this stretch of trail, there's I'm not sure what type of frog, maybe like a yellow toad or something that's endangered, so we can't hike on the PCT because of that. So we are walking a beautiful road. I think it's the 2, outside of Los Angeles. So road walk in rain today, trying to keep it real for you guys, and embracing the suck today. But right now it's actually, for the first time today, I'm looking at the scenery. So actually things are looking up. But yeah, it was a hard first half of the day, and I think it's going to be raining some more today, and we're supposed to be getting thunderstorms tomorrow all day. I don't think I want to get out of my tent, but I might have to make the miles, and so I don't run out of food. So I will update you soon on that, and yeah, hoping to get warm soon. Good morning. Overview for day 22 through 25. But first I'll show you where I am. In the Angeles National Forest. And it's been pretty rainy here. I think it's starting to rain now, but I'll do this really quick. There's the trail. You can see the rain clouds back there too. There you go. Okay, so day 22 was a hike into McDonald's. So I booked it into Cajon Pass. And 17 mile, well, how many? Oh, I booked it 14 miles into McDonald's, and I didn't really take any breaks because I was so excited. All I could think about was a protein-style chicken sandwich. So I ended up eating a lot. I had 2 protein-style chicken sandwiches, hash brown, fry. What else did I get? And a sundae with hot fudge and caramel. I've never eaten that much at McDonald's. And I was still hungry, so I had a Snickers bar after. And I know a lot of my health coach friends are going to be cringing right now, but I have become a full-on hiker, I guess. But I'm looking forward to Agua Dulce, where I'm getting my healthy food resupply package. So yeah, and then I hiked actually a lot more that day because I wanted to set myself up for getting into Wrightwood at a non-dark time, so when I hitchhiked it wouldn't be as sketchy. So it was a hot day, but I pushed, and I also there was a big climb into Wrightwood, so I wanted to get 2,000 feet of that climb over with that day, and it was a pretty easy hiking day, so I thought I'd just go for it. Day 23 was a hike into Wrightwood, and I was by myself all day, and it was really freezing cold. I think I was hiking in like an ice cloud for half of the hike that day. That was a 17-mile day. The day before I think was like a 23-mile day. So it was quite a hike up and quite a hike down. Very cold. I only took like a 15-minute lunch break because I was so freezing and I had to keep moving to keep warm. So hiked into Wrightwood, got a hitch with another guy, and this French guy picked us up that was here, living here, and just traveling around. It was very interesting and very nice to pick us up. So I went to the hardware store in Wrightwood, and that's kind of where hikers go to find out where they can stay. All the trail angels are registered with them, and you get like a little pin for your hat, a PCT pin. So I did that, and I found a trail angel named Laura, and she was really amazing. It was funny, her little ad in the booklet in the hardware store said organic food. What else did it say? Oh, laundry and puppies. And she said a lot of people reading it thought she was like a serial killer or something, but she got me a puppy. So I stayed with her for 2 nights. She was wonderful, made amazing organic food. She's also a caterer, so she just knew her stuff. And she didn't want anything from us in return except a picture of us at the northern terminus. So luckily she lives near where I do, so I might take her to dinner or something later on when I get back. But she was so wonderful. So thank you, Laura, for hospitality. So day 24, I was staying with Laura, and took a 0 that day, resupplied, and at midday, my left leg started hurting. My knee and my hip were really tight, and then my quad was just in pain. It was very weak, so I could barely make it up the stairs. And unfortunately, there were a lot of stairs in her house, so I was kind of freaking out a little bit. But I said, okay, I'll just sleep, hopefully just sleep it off. 2 in the morning, still in pain, so I got my phone and started doing what you probably shouldn't do, going on like WebMD on the internet to see like what's wrong with you. And if you ever go on WebMD, you're basically gonna die, like of whatever your ailment is. So I was pretty much considering the fact that I wasn't gonna be able to hike anymore. You know, I'd have to take a month to rehabilitate myself or whatever, or go to a physical therapist or something. So I was like kind of freaking out. So day 25, I decided to take another 0 because I was still in pain. And the fellow hikers who were also staying with Laura were reassuring me that it wasn't that bad. So I was kind of being dramatic, but I'm really glad I did take that second 0 day because my body needed it. And it's interesting because my body wasn't in pain before that. It was the day I took a day off where it started talking to me. So decided to give it more rest, and got a lot better by the next day. I took like an Epsom salt bath, and what else did I do? Oh, I got like icy hot patches and stuff. So really took care of myself. So I was walking a little bit better, and let me think about this. A new group came in to Laura's place, so got to meet new people, which was great. And yeah, that was pretty much day 22 through 25, half hiking and half resting. Good afternoon. So, reporting from under my umbrella. It is a hot day today. I think the general trend for hiking the PCT is you're freezing and then you're melting. You're freezing and then you're melting. So yesterday I was in freezing conditions, and then now I'm in the desert. But anyway, I wanted to go over day 26 through 28. But first, before I do that, I wanted to go back to day 25 because I forgot to mention a couple things. So first, I was staying with a trail angel named Laura, and then she was heading out of town on day 25. So I switched trail angels and stayed with a lovely woman named Elizabeth. So thank you, Elizabeth, for your hospitality. She made us some great meals, and all the people staying over played apples to apples. So she provided some games and snacks to take with us and everything. Making sure there's nobody behind me. So she was just a wonderful trail angel. If you're a PCT hiker and you're going through Wrightwood, look for Laura and Elizabeth. And also wanted to talk a little bit more about my injury there. Feeling better now. But word on the trail is, and if anybody can correct me, please leave a comment. But word on the trail is your muscles get used to your new level of activity after you start the PCT after about 4 weeks. And your tendons and joints get used to it after about 6 weeks. So that might explain my issue, but it feels great now. So good news there. But day 26, so going out of Wrightwood, hiked up to Mount Baden-Powell, made it to the top, hiked through really steep conditions in snow. So we needed our micro spikes, and I hiked with two lovely ladies, Songbird and Calzone, who also gave me my trail name. So happy to report that my trail name is Cheer. Because, well, what they say is, let me go over a little bit of background on trail name. So a trail name is something people call you on the trail, so it's easier to remember your name. So it can be like a personality trait or kind of about like a funny story that happened on the trail, etc. So cheer comes from me. When I meet someone, I kind of like cheer them on, and tend to be supportive to other hikers and people in general. So anyway, they told me, you're like a cheerleader, but they didn't want the connotation of like ditzy airhead cheerleader. So they said, well, what about cheer? And so thought about it for a while, and I decided to take it on the top of Mount Baden-Powell. I signed my name in the book up there, because you can sign a book or like a registry to say you made it to the top. So I signed it Cheer. So it's official. Trail name is Cheer. Woo! Let me see. Yeah, so it was a tough hike. We hiked 13 miles that day. Made it to the top. It was beautiful. And I have there was a clip before this of example of a good day, and that was on the top of Mount Baden-Powell. So that was a good day. Day 27 was opposite. So I also have an example of that before this video, kind of in the beginning. It was freezing cold, rainy. Didn't get a lot of miles in that day because I was hiking with Songbird, and we both just kind of like had it for the day. And I know I kind of went over that in the video before, but yeah, I was wet and it was freezing. Just one of those days where you have to convince yourself of why you're there and remind yourself why you're hiking. So good exercise though, because there will be more days like that. Many more days, I'm sure. So good experience, just being cold. And now I know I need some new gear, so I'll go over that in the gear review. Yes, so not a great day, day 27. Day 28 was better. Wasn't raining as much, and then I was hiking down into the desert, so it got warmer eventually, which was what I wanted, exactly what I wanted. So hiked down into the desert, and yeah, it was a little bit stormy, so there was like thunder and lightning, so I stopped a couple times just to kind of wait it out, because I know that could be dangerous. And of course I was hiking to a high point right when the storm was coming in, so waited it out a little bit. Then Songbird showed up, and she was like, oh, it's no big deal, so she gave me the courage to keep going. So I hiked with her to our campsite, which was so beautiful. I'll put a picture of it in the little slideshow after this, but it was just gorgeous way to end the day. We met up with a French group that we'd been hiking with, and a couple other people, and had dinner together, so it's really nice way to end the week. So I'm going to give you guys a tour of my campsite. So this is an example of what I set up every night pretty much. And I scored today with a really great spot that's secluded. And I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but there is a stream near as well. So I'm going to show you everything I've set up. Okay, this is my home for the night. So I set up my tent, and I'm not gonna put on the rain fly tonight because it doesn't look like rain. And I wanna see the stars, so we'll go over what's in there in a second. I also, on the side, have my food bag in the blue bag, my trekking poles, and I'm gonna filter some water. So in the middle is my water filtration system, and then in the bucket, I washed my clothes. It was a really hot day, so they're drying right now. I'll show you that in a second. But I washed my clothes, my socks, and I'm gonna wash my feet a little bit later. And as you can see, this is like such a score for a spot. And then you can see, so my socks are drying in the sun, shoes, I had to ford a couple of rivers today, so they are drying. Pants are drying, and shirt is drying, and I have my trail dress on right now. Okay, so go over what's inside. I have my little sits pad here, so when I'm setting up the inside of my tent, I sit on this and like blow up my blow up inflatable mattress and set up my sleeping bag and all that good stuff. So open this. Sorry for the struggle. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so here's the interior. I'm gonna sit down. Okay, so I've got my sleeping bag. And for later when it gets cold, I have my buff ready to go, and then clean socks after I wash my feet. I have over in the corner my toiletry system, and then the stuffed sacks for the sleeping bag and the air mattress. You can see the mattress climate. Very lightweight, very warm. Oop. And then my pillow is already set to go, stuffed with my jacket. If it gets colder later, I'll pull that out and wear it. Inside my sleeping bag, I have my liner, which keeps me very, very warm. Might not need it tonight because I'm kind of in the desert near Deep Creek Hot Springs. And I won't show this to you, but in the feet inside my sleeping bag, I have my down booties. So they're always clean. I never wear them while I'm hiking or anything. They're always just for sleeping. I have my clothing system on the side here. And then at the base of my tent, I have my pretty much empty backpack. I put some of the stuff inside, like I have my, well, the water filtration system will go in there. Unless it's really cold, then I have to sleep with my Sawyer Squeeze because it cannot freeze. So I have to like put it at the foot of my sleeping bag. But yeah, it's just some odds and ends in there, like my cooling towel and that sort of thing, just so it's out of the way. And then when I go to sleep, I will be putting my food bag in here, and I usually leave the bucket outside and my water outside too, unless, well, I usually put one bottle inside so I can drink if I get thirsty at night. But that's actually something I was curious about when I knew I was going to do this, is where do you keep your food? Do you hang it? You know, are critters an issue? But as long as you're not in bear country, which is really, I think, the Sierra mostly, where you need a bear canister. Everybody I talked to who did the PCT kept their food bag inside their tent. So nobody really had a problem, and so that's what I normally do. So I usually just put it at base there, kind of out of the way of my feet. So there we go. Yep, that is the setup. And then while I'm eating dinner and setting up my tent, I wear my sandals. I know my feet are really dirty still. I still need to clean them, but that is the setup for pretty much every night. And yeah, that's it. Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot something. So, a couple things. I keep my electronics up in the top. The Big Agnes copper spur has these nice little pockets at the top, and then at the side there, I keep all of my really important stuff, like my headlamp, my bathroom kit, and my important documents, and my phone. And that, my friends, is the tour of my home for pretty much every night for 5 months. Good morning. Gear update for week 4. Since it rained, a lot of issues came to light with some of my gear. So I'll tell you about that. And I did mention this before too, but my my Ghost Whisperer rain jacket. I don't know how this happened, but it was wet on the inside when it started raining. So I don't know if the cuffs were too loose, or maybe it's because I didn't have my puffy on underneath. But yeah, it was freezing cold, and then my core was wet, and that's not a very good situation when it's raining. So I think I'm going to replace that with the Patagonia Houdini jacket. It was recommended to me, but I already had the Ghost Whisperer at the time. So yeah, I think I'm going to go in Agua Dulce, which I'm going to be going to today. Hiker Heaven, to be specific. They have rides to REI. So I have to make sure I didn't brush up against a poodle dog bush, because those are worse than poison oak. It's worse than poison oak. Anyway, so I'm going to get a ride to REI probably tomorrow on my 0 day. So I'm going to look at the Patagonia Houdini jacket to replace my Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer rain jacket. Also, my wool gloves. So I switched out my wool, or the sealskin waterproof gloves with my wool gloves that I already had. And I kind of am regretting that decision, because they don't dry very quickly. It took them like 2.5 days to dry. Luckily they like insulated my hands while it was raining and it was freezing cold, but it just takes forever to dry. So I'm not very happy with that. And I know that's not really what they're meant for in the rain, like torrential rain. But yeah, I think I want my sealskin gloves back now. So let me think. I think that's pretty much it for this week. I'm going downhill right now. As far as gear, but I'm excited to go to REI to see what they have. And oh, I'm also going to replace my shoes because I'll be at 450 miles. And I think for the Brooks Cascadia shoes, they recommend 400 to 500 miles you replace your shoes. So I'm hoping REI has my size. If not, I'll just send them, order them and have them send it forward. But yeah, ordering new shoes. I think I'm going to keep my orthotics for now. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future because I am wearing custom and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get more custom orthotics on the trail. So I'm not sure what to do about that, but I might ask somebody at REI. And then I might also I have a warming buff that I can't really wear in the sun because it's so hot, but I might get a cooling buff instead of my cooling towel because my cooling towel is just, I can't put it around my head or anything unless it's like a bandana situation, but I want to be able to put it like over my ears and all that. So I might get a cooling bandana too, or a cooling buff at REI. So I'll update you on what I end up getting in week 5.